Do you wish you had some kind of cheat guide before you became an adult? Things that school or maybe your parents don't teach you? Then check out the book called Adulting 101, My First Apartment and Car. Just search Adulting 101, My First Apartment and Car on Amazon. You can find it there. And it's about the basic things that we take for granted, like the common skill of checking apartment complexes at night before you sign your lease, or doing a background check on your roommate before you move in together, or not co-signing for something. The book is designed to help those parents or guardians help their young ones transition from their home successfully. Whether that is getting a roommate, how to spot a really crappy landlord, or how not to buy an awful car, these are some of the things that they've learned throughout their own personal experiences. So check out Adulting 101, My First Apartment and Car on Amazon, and give your kids the cheat codes to things that we wish we had. Check out Adulting 101, Things I Wish I Knew, My First Apartment. It's available on Amazon or at stoverconsulting.net. That's STOVER consulting.net. It has a ton more information on that website. Go check it out today.
This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is the one that everybody wants, me.
Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my idol. You're going to acknowledge me.
What is going on, everybody? Guys and girls, welcome back to another edition of the SmackDown Review right here on the WWE Podcast. As always, I am one of the hosts of the show, Michael Ritter. You can find me on Twitter at Michael5Ritter, and also one of the hosts of the Football Function Podcast, available on all of your podcasting platforms. Joining me on today's episode, my co-host, John Carrasco. You can find him on Twitter at Big Speaker. That's BIGG_Speaker. John, how you doing, bud?
I am doing pretty good, man. Like I said, it's always a good time being back in Funky Town and everything like that. So, yeah, here to break it down, SmackDown Review. So, yeah, let's get into it.
Another long day that we got through, long week, really. It's not over by any means, but we have to take a little bit of a break to cover SmackDown, obviously, which it was a pretty good episode. Really wrestling heavy. I felt like they were all meaningful matches. Like, the only match that was going to be, quote-unquote, not meaningful would have been the B-Fab and Zelina Vega match. That was the only one that was kind of like, didn't really have a huge storyline or like a huge stipulation behind it. It was just kind of thrown together because of the clashing of those two groups. But obviously that match didn't happen, and we'll get to that a little bit later in the show. But we are going to cover this SmackDown that aired on November 11th, 2022 from Indianapolis, Indiana. And it starts with that very hyped up, that very anticipated tag team championship match between the Usos and the New Day. The Usos were basically trying to break the New Day's record for the longest tenured WWE tag team champions. Or, yeah, I guess that's a way to phrase it, but anyways, the New Day were trying to stand in their way. We got a very good promo from these guys on Monday Night Raw. The New Day talking about how, you know, the Usos have no idea like what it's like to build your career off your own back, not, you know, rely on your bloodline or your family, you know, your ancestors, anything like that. And of course, the Usos flipping on them and say, you have no idea the pressure to come from a family like that. No, you have to live up to those expectations or you will be considered a failure, essentially. So it was a very, very passionate promo from both sides to kind of get you ready for this match tonight. And it was a 31-minute opening match. Like, maybe not all wrestling was 30 minutes, but from the time that SmackDown started, and there was a video package like from Crown Jewel they showed, and of course the entrances. But 7:31 was whenever this match was decided, and it was just really entertaining. Kind of both teams had a chance to kind of get their offense going and have control of the match. Xavier Woods kicks out of like a double Uso splash at the 27-minute mark. I thought it was over then. I literally was like, oh, that's it. Like, there's no way that, you know, he's going to kick out of that. Sure enough, he does. And it made me believe for a little bit that there was a possibility that they were going to make this SmackDown a little bit special by having those titles change hands. It doesn't happen, though. The Usos end up winning with a 1D to retain their undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships and inevitably break that record.
Yeah, man, this one was crazy. And I kind of thought, like, Jimmy was, like, injuring himself in, like, a couple of these moves, you know, just like the way he was holding himself. But, I mean, maybe just going with it. But I do like the new shirts, you know, We the One shirts. And
yes.
I don't know what it was saying on the back, you know, because, like, on the red ones, it has just a finger. And then on these ones, it said, like, tribute and then, like, smaller words. I don't know if anybody caught that or anything. But, yeah, I was trying to pick up on that. But I did see Jay, you know, dyed his hair. So he got a little bit of the red on there.
About time.
Yeah, so it's kind of, you know, Usos starting to, like, kind of go into their ways, it kind of seems like. And I'm with it, you know. I was kind of figuring when Jay would, like, kind of pick up on that or if he was going to just stay, like, the all black and stuff. But another thing about Solo, is he ever going to change his hair color? Or is
I don't think so, because that's a little bit of a nod to Rikishi. You know, yeah. Rikishi had the blonde hair like that. And if you see a picture, I know there was a picture floating around on the internet of Solo with really long hair. Not that long ago. It was like a couple of years ago, you can tell. And it's, you know, just like the Usos hair pretty much, you know, that dark. And he dyed it blonde. I think that's unique. I think that kind of makes him stand out a little bit. And obviously, you know, pays homage to Rikishi show or so. I like the blonde hair on Solo. But anything else on this match?
No, I mean, not too much. I mean, I did like how they had like the momentum shifts and everything like that. So it was kind of like, oh, okay, maybe they do got it. Maybe okay. On the other hand, Usos still retaining, you know. So it was good. I was kind of up in the air about it.
Up next, another meaningful match. The SmackDown World Cup starts here in Shinsuke Nakamura versus Santos Escobar. The way that they framed this was almost like nation versus nation. Like this one in particular was Mexico versus Japan. And Santos Escobar wins with a phantom driver after some, minor interference outside of the ring causes momentum to switch hands. And obviously Escobar gets the win and he advances to the next round. Doesn't know who he's going to go up against yet, but pretty stacked tournament bracket just, you know, with everybody who's involved in this. But what'd you think about Escobar beating Nakamura?
Well, in this one, I kind of felt like it was going to be like his like revenge match. Sorry about that. From like last week, you know, whenever Shinsuke helped out Hit Row.
Yep.
So yeah, that's what I was kind of like seeing from like the beginning and all this, and it ultimately turned out to what I expected. You know, Santos getting the win and everything. So it was pretty good. I mean, it definitely like showed me like what he can do in the ring and stuff. So I mean, brought me up to speed on his performance, I guess you could say.
Yeah, definitely. I guess we can go ahead and continue because I'm really interested in what happened next. It was like a backstage segment with Bray Wyatt and LA Knight. I'm pretty sure you caught this. He was just cutting a promo, or no, he wasn't cutting a promo. He was doing like a backstage interview with Megan, and she kept getting distracted by the Jumbotron right behind him and just seeing like what was on the screen. It ended up being that graphic that we've been seeing lately that's synonymous with Bray Wyatt. I don't know if it's like a moth or a butterfly, whatever it is. You got me. I don't know what the hell it is, but either way, he clearly, LA Knight turns around and he's like, hey, don't pay attention to that. This is my time. And like, don't, whatever.
That was great right there when he did that. I was just like,
and then turns around, Bray Wyatt's right there. I was like, oh, okay. Things are getting a little interesting. I kind of, opened my mind up to the prospects of those two having a program together. And I got excited about it. I really did. I do think that there's some good stuff here if they actually were to, indulge in it with I think that it's pretty obvious they're going to. Otherwise, they wouldn't have done this in the first place. But nonetheless, this was pretty good. Bray Wyatt basically says, for the longest time, I'm trying to think. Because either way, I'm going to be paraphrasing. Clearly, we watched this like an hour ago or whatever. But he says something along the lines of, I question what I do. Like the things that I do, I always questioned it. And I always... Do you remember exactly what it was? Something along the lines of it makes him like a bad person or something, but now he like embraces it pretty much is what he meant by that. Is he embraces the things that he does now, pretty much just accepting that he's like sick and twisted in the head. And LA Knight, he has his one-liners pretty much just saying, look, you can go put on your romper, go back there and play with your puppets and stick them where the sun don't shine is pretty much what he said. And That was pretty good stuff right there by LA Knight. One thing I will notice, his facial hair. Did you catch that? How it's like just goes straight down like that?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a choice or if that's just the way that it grows in, kind of like Joe Dirt style. Not like exactly like Joe Dirt, but just a very unique hairline, I guess, for the facial hair. But either way,
The thing I took out of it is like how it came like to a point before it hit like the
and then went up.
goatee, I guess you could say. Yeah.
He's definitely trying something. So we'll see if it works out for him. But one thing that happened to him here is a headbutt. Bray Wyatt does get him with a good one, drops him, and he hops up. Where the hell did he go? He's already out of here. I am looking forward to seeing this continue on, though, because just both of these guys can go on the mic, and I feel like that's something that's missed right now in WWE. Is like because usually whenever you get a program, it's one person's really, really good on the mic, another person's really, really good on the ring, and kind of limited on the microphone. These two, I feel like they're really well-rounded, like WWE wrestlers in terms of like they can both go in the ring, they can both go on the mic, so we should be in for some pretty good stuff.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. And the Bray Wyatt thing, like how he's just talking about like the anger and everything like that. I mean, it's starting to get to me. I'm just kind of curious, like is he gonna like eventually just snap, or is he gonna keep doing this like back and forth to kind of like hold himself off from becoming whatever he's trying to, or whatever he's trying to avoid, I guess you could say, So that's the only thing that kind of gets me out of this. But I mean, this was, like you said, great from both sides. So yeah, I did enjoy it.
Up next, six-pack challenge. The winner gets a one-on-one match with Ronda Rousey for the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship at Survivor Series War Games. Excuse me. This one does include Liv Morgan, Xia Li, Sonya Deville, Lacey Evans, Shotzi, and Raquel Rodriguez. The match itself, I'm not going to lie, just from the wrestling that we got in hour one, which was, that 30-minute match between New Day and the Usos, and then we got Santos Escobar and Shinsuke Nakamura go one-on-one, and that wasn't a short match by any means. So those two matches were done at like 7:50, give or take. So there really wasn't a whole lot when you include like the backstage stuff, obviously, with Roman Reigns after the Usos match when he kind of embraced them and said, I'm going to need you guys with me later tonight. And then obviously the stuff with Bray Wyatt and LA Knight, and there was some other backstage stuff as well. So that kind of filled up that first hour of SmackDown. And I thought there was a lot of good wrestling in that first hour. Like you can tell that they really jam-packed the beginning of SmackDown with a lot of good in-ring stuff. And they tried to continue here with this six-pack challenge, but just from what we just saw, it was a little bit of like a couple gears were taken down. Just from the pacing of it, I guess the match flow itself, and obviously you put six people in the ring with no disqualification, no count out, all that good stuff. It's going to make for more of like a sloppy match. And I don't want to say that the match was sloppy like in terms of like the wrestler's performance or anything, but it wasn't what we got with the two tag teams who have so much chemistry, so much history with each other, and then two phenomenal, independent wrestlers in terms of like Shinsuke Nakamura and Santos Escobar. They're going to put on a good match. So it's pretty much comparing apples to oranges here, but it's just something that I noticed and I wrote down is that it was an obvious shift in the vibe with wrestling. But Shotzi does pick up the win here, surprisingly. I did not expect her to win just with the talent, the way they introduced, because if you focus on the entrances, sometimes they give it away. Mm-hmm. Like they came back from commercial break and we had 4 women in the ring and they showed Shotzi. I was like, that's kind of strange. And then Raquel, and once she came out, that was my pick. I was like, okay, Raquel's most likely going to win this. It just makes a whole lot of sense. And the fact that it was Shotzi, it caught me off guard, but I'm not opposed to it. I'm fine with someone else getting another opportunity, someone who we really haven't seen get this type of push. I don't know what they're going to do with it yet. Clearly, she's going to be an underdog in this program with Ronda Rousey. We saw it happen immediately after the match. They meet backstage, and Sonya Deville and Ronda Rousey kind of run up on her, and she has some words for Ronda Rousey, doesn't see her standing there right behind her. Shayna tells her to turn around. She does just that, gets choked out, similar to what happened in Natalya a couple weeks back. But what are your thoughts on Shotzi getting the number 1 contenders ship and then her getting attacked after the match?
Well, it was a complete shock. Yeah, wasn't expecting that. I was maybe like more higher on Lacey Evans.
Exactly. She wasn't even like second or third.
That's what I was like, she was just kind of out of the match in a way. I mean, she had a good, right? What was it called? The right hand that she does?
Women's right?
Woman's right, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So, yeah, she had that right out the gate and everything like that. So I was kind of okay, giving her some good momentum. And then, like, it just seemed like she disappeared for a while. But Raquel, she was another high one on my list, of course, but then whatever botch happened with that table and everything on the side of the ring was kind of just, like, weird. Liv Morgan, I guess you could say. But I don't know, man. Yeah, for a second, I just didn't know what the heck was going to happen, I mean, like I said, I had my expectations, but ultimately we had a shocker, Shotzi, and I think this is going to be the biggest match of her career.
It
for the time.
100% is, yes.
Yeah, but, I mean, all I can say is congratulations to her, I guess you could say.
Just quick side note, because we're talking about the women's division and her getting an opportunity and then getting attacked by Shayna. It's just similar to kind of the path that Natalya took. What are your thoughts on Natalya's nose being broken? Both of her eyes blacked. She has stitches right there underneath her. Like, she got from that knee, which it looked rough. The blood was there. Like, when people break their nose, it does not usually look the exact same afterwards. Just from my experience and people I've seen, known personally, that have, had some nose issues, it's very easily injurable again. I know that's not even a freaking word. It's late as hell right now. But it's very easily to injure again,
Gotcha.
if you break your nose.
Well, on that, man, at first I thought it was just played off so well because I didn't think it was actually like a real injury. I didn't think the nose had actually like broke or anything like that. Maybe just like, one of those hard hits to the nose and your nose just kind of like drips a little bit.
Yeah.
But whenever I saw the picture on Twitter, I was just like, dang, she really took one, I guess you could say, But I'm pretty sure she has some good doctors, surgeons that can get that all fixed up, even if it was to be bad, just going by off like the plastic surgery that it looks like she's had all done to her face and stuff,
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I do like that Shayna. She's like being like the mouth for Ronda, in a sense, I guess you could say, because she's, the one that came and approached Shotzi and kind of just gave her like the expectation on what to expect basically whenever she makes this match. Snapped ankle, broken arm, so kind of just broke it down for her. And then of course Ronda, just turned around to her and she just has like that. I don't even know what she said about like being green or whatever, just
Clean up on aisle green.
Yeah, I was just like,
I'm glad
oh
you brought
my
that up because I
gosh,
did write it down, but I wasn't looking there. So yeah, clean up
Yeah,
on aisle green.
Yeah, she definitely just threw me off with that. I was
Sitcom
just like,
vibes right there.
But yeah, man, I mean, congratulations, Shotzi.
Yeah.
Long way.
Congrats. I didn't notice that she had her septum pierced. I noticed it when they zoomed in really close, but I even follow her on social media, so that's one thing I was like, that's weird. I didn't notice that, and I'm sure it's been like that for a while. But yeah, shout out to Shotzi. We'll see if it works out for her. Just Survivor Series War Games seems like it's kind of right up her alley when you look at like her tank entrance, the theme of her character right now. Makes sense. And I definitely hope that she can make the most of that. Let's see what happens next here. Another SmackDown World Cup match. Jinder Mahal versus Braun Strowman. USA versus India. I believe this is what it was. What are your thoughts on this match?
Well, this one was just funny at the beginning because whenever Jinder, he was talking about like becoming the IC champion and just going through whatever, and then Braun Strowman's music hits and he just kind of like does that little slow turn, and eyes all wide. So, I mean, it was pretty good, but I'm still not feeling the Braun, I mean, again, we have him going against Jinder, I mean, he's bringing tag teams with the dancing freak Shanky, I mean, everybody's saying that they miss him, so, kind of have to throw him in there, but
The fact that you say that is crazy because we ate lunch today at the same place, pretty much. And I saw somebody as I walked in who worked there, and he looked like Shanky.
For real?
Wasn't the same size, obviously, but just like he had like the hair kind of tied back a little bit and just a little bit taller. I was like, if he just starts dancing right now, then I might actually think this is him. But yeah, definitely wasn't him, but it reminded me of him just earlier today. So the fact that you brought him up and we haven't seen him in a while, it made me want to say that. But yeah.
Yeah, but other than that, man, I mean, like I said, just can't get behind Braun. I mean, just feels like even though he had that match with Omos, don't think that was just any much of a help, I guess you could say. It's just two big dudes just going at it, beating each other up, basically. Like, say he went against, like, Brock Lesnar, you know. I mean, I know it was kind of like a bad look on him for going out with, like, almost being in the hurt lock, you know. I was just like, oh, my gosh. But I would be more...
You're talking about Braun Strowman, though, going against Brock.
Yeah,
okay.
if he was to go against, like, somebody like Brock, I guess you could say, you know, like, high level of, like, intensity, you know, big guy also, you know, but I don't know, man. I just can't get behind the Braun guy. I can't.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say you're wrong for that at all. Braun Strowman is very polarizing. Like it's very easy because he's so vocal. Like just after that last match with Omos, he like took a shot. I don't know if this is like kayfabe, if this is like storyline or whatever, but he took a shot at like all the acrobatic, athletic type wrestlers. You know, like Ricochet, Mustafa Ali, many others who were in the WWE that you know like to flip around, and he just pretty much said that. You know, big, massive monsters wrestling against each other is still better than the flippy, floppy guys. And, you know, of course, they had their clapbacks. They all responded to it and all that stuff and just said, you know, you don't need to do that. You don't need to belittle another style of wrestling just to try to put yourself over. You guys had a good match. You know, it was a nice, marketed, I guess, battle of the two behemoths or however you want to phrase it. But I kind of agreed with that. I was like... I mean, those matches are boring as hell. Like, honestly, when you look at the monster versus monster, yes, you can get some excitement from watching them, but it's not, like, the sustainability is the thing. Like, you can't, like, if you booked a card, nothing but giant versus giant, like, Great Khali versus Big Show, and then Braun Strowman versus The Undertaker, which that's, I mean, anytime you see The Undertaker, don't get it twisted. You know, he's gonna
something's happening.
It's gonna be badass. But maybe I should have picked another guy. You know, another tall guy. But either way, you know what I'm trying to say. The athletic type, that's more of a like. It's tough to say because when you look at guys like Ricochet, a few years ago, like Ricochet now, as crazy as it sounds, he turned it down a couple notches. He used to really put his body through hell, and he had to stop doing it because he knew that his shelf life wasn't going to be as long by, you know, just having that type of style. Because like we talk about every week, it is a very, very rough lifestyle, and he just kind of realized, like, hey, if I want to be able to do this for a long period of time, I have to kind of, you know, take it a couple steps back and reevaluate the way that I do this night in, night out. So he's somebody that's taking a step down, but those matches where it is really, you know, you never really know what you're going to see next. They're just trying to kind of one-up each other. You don't want to see that every week, but I do feel, or like I guess every single match, but when you're comparing it to, you know, those two monsters, that's just one thing I wanted to comment on is you don't got to take a shot at another one to put the other one over.
I agree with that. And I kind of think, like, even if you were to put, like, him versus Rey Mysterio, you know, that would be, I think, a pretty high-star match, in my opinion. You're going to have a veteran, flippy-floppy guy going against this big guy, you know. He's going to show you some stuff, you know. That's what I kind of think about it. But I do hate that Mustafa and Ricochet are going against each other in this World Cup.
Yeah.
That's one thing.
We'll definitely see that. Every time I think about Mustafa, though, I see that clip of Bobby Lashley just throwing him backstage. That was so funny, dude. It's out of context because, like, people don't realize that Mustafa Ali was the one who was there first, who was there having the interview, and Bobby Lashley's the one that came up. If you just see that clip, it looks like Bobby's talking, and Mustafa comes out of nowhere and just, you know, starts hitting him and stuff. But it's definitely...
That was funny, though.
It's definitely funny stuff, and, you know, you love to see it. And I agree with you. I would love to see that matchup specifically at some point, preferably on SmackDown.
Yeah, don't worry, bud. You're definitely going to get that match pretty soon. But, yeah, I do like that it's going to happen, that hopefully, like, one of those winners do go against Braun Strowman, you know, just involving that little social media interaction we were just talking about. So, if that was to happen, man, I'd be all for that right there.
All right, up next, the match that I was referring to earlier, Zelina Vega versus B-Fab. It was hyped up. You know, they were kind of, you know, both of them, well, at least, you know, Hit Row got to do their entrance, which I've kind of come to the conclusion. I've called Hit Row corny several times, and I think I know an even more specific way to describe them. They're just a Disney Channel rap group. Like, that's what it is, just Disney Channel. Because, I mean, just look at what they are. Like, they're not going to push that line. Even whenever we go to TV 14, we'll see. But they're just so like carbon copy, generic stereotype what you would expect a rap group to be in WWE. And I was just listening to him today. I was like, literally just used my imagination. I pretended I was watching Disney Channel and I was going to see, all right, well, let's see if this gets in like something that isn't normal for a Disney Channel show. And I was kind of just watching their little entrance. I was like, this seems like something that could literally be on Disney Channel. Just break out the little wand where they freaking do the little Disney logo or whatever. You know, it's right on the money. But that's just kind of something that I wanted to touch on right there. So, yeah, the Hit Row, they end up getting attacked here because we hear the Viking Raiders music. It kind of pans to the stage, and there is a mystery person there. At least I was like, who the hell is this? Like, what the hell? Did I miss something? Once I saw who it was, though, in terms of the people that ambushed from behind, I kind of put two and two together. I knew it was Sarah Logan. Are you familiar with Sarah Logan?
I know a little bit about her, and couldn't say that I know like moves or anything like that, but I've seen her. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a way to explain like kind of who she is in the ring. Got a little bit of Nikki Cross to her in terms of like, you know, stylistically, the way that she wrestles. She was, you know, like we mentioned, a prominent member in the Riot Squad during their heyday. So she has a very strong connection with Liv Morgan and Ruby Riot. And obviously she's married to Ivar, maybe Eric. I think it's Eric, actually, the bald Viking Raider. So it does make sense to get her in this group. The way that they viciously attacked Hit Row makes you think that they are in store for a program with them. I mean, 2 guys and a girl versus 2 guys and a girl. It writes itself. It could almost lead to Survivor Series, that we can get a little bit of a intergender, mixed gender, whatever, tag team match, 6-person tag team match, and, you know, get a pretty good storyline, a few good weeks to book that and kind of, you know, get us ready for it. What were your thoughts whenever you saw this? Like, were you excited to see the match and kind of bummed that it got interrupted, or were you more excited, oh, we don't get to see this match, this is more exciting? Like, what was your stance on it?
Well, at the beginning of this, I mean, I wasn't for it. I mean, of course, I know, or we know that they had like their little altercations last week and everything like that, but I wasn't too high on the match between B-Fab and Zelina Vega. I kind of just thought, you know, oh, this is going to be just a little squash match for Zelina, because I don't know what B-Fab can do. I mean, she comes to me as more of like the talker for Hit Row, but in ring, haven't really seen anything. So whenever that music hit, I mean, I didn't expect them to come running from the backside and attacking. You know, I kind of thought it was going to be like more of like one of those little slow like walks to the ring, you know, present themselves type stuff. That's what I kind of thought. But yeah, they got in there. They did that. They wiped out the ring. You know, they
beat the hell out of everybody.
Yeah, and then Ashante, whenever he got squashed by Ivar, whenever he jumped off the rope,
yes.
Dude, that's a lot of weight coming down on you, you know. So I can't really say I would want to be in that position, but I do like that they double power slammed Top Dollar, though. You know, that was kind of cool.
Just my takeaway from this, do not think the Viking Raiders are big Disney Channel fans.
Mm-hmm. They definitely put themselves on notice right here.
Yeah,
that's
for sure, without a doubt. But up next, to close the show, the final segment, Roman Reigns and the Bloodline. Now, they kind of talk about this, like, big announcement is what it was advertised, or, like, major announcement. I don't really know exactly what, what the graphic was.
Special moment.
Special moment. Okay,
Roman,
good. Yes.
yeah,
Yeah, special moment. Okay. I'm glad that you corrected me there, because I would have been a big-time stooge. But, so, what happened here?
Well, basically, I mean, you know, Bloodline, they come out to the ring, you know, doing their normal entrance and everything like that. And then Paul Heyman, you know, he starts doing his little talking, you know, saying that Sammy wasn't there. You know, the crowd kind of started booing, saying, and he addresses it saying that that's not Usi, you know, starting to use that little catchphrase and everything. But Roman, he gets the mic. He says that he has like some important stuff that he has to say, and it kind of like addresses Jimmy first, calling him, you know, the cousins, you know, and then he addresses Jay, and he says, I forgot what the quote was, but he's about to address him, right? And then the Brawling Brutes, their music comes on, kind of interrupts them. And Bridge, he kind of just says that the Usos, they always win by the numbers game. So they kind of run down to the ring, stop right before. And then here comes Sheamus. His music hits. Shout out to him on his wedding, I guess you could say.
Yes.
Yeah.
They wrote him off TV so he could, take some time. And
So
he deserves it, man. I think he's in store for a pretty big 2023. He
yeah.
might get a shot at Roman, to be honest.
I think that would be good. I mean, especially like what they got.
Yeah,
going
they're
on
setting
right
it
now.
up.
So, I mean, I think it's gonna kind of go down that line and stuff. But yeah, Sheamus, they come down, or he comes down. They basically just start going at it. Welling on each other, and then Drew McIntyre comes. That's the fourth person, kind of helps. I want to see a Solo and Drew McIntyre kind of format all this stuff. But yeah, I do want to see that. And this was just great, man. I do hate that it turned off like 2 minutes before at 8:58. You still had 2 minutes to let us.
Yeah, and it didn't start till like 7:01, and it was late in 7:01 too, damn near 7:02. So
yeah, so I'm like seeing it just cut
on
off
a 2-hour
TV.
show, those minutes are valuable. But yeah, continue.
Exactly. And but I mean, even with the 2 hours, I mean, I feel like they still scrunched in so much stuff from this episode or this show. So it was good. But yeah, I don't like that they cut it off whenever they were just beating each other up in the ring.
Yeah, definitely not a big fan of the just cliffhanger type thing. How does it end? Who knows? They could have fought for 30 more minutes for all we know. Give us that overtime. We want to know.
Everybody that was there got to see that.
Yeah.
Stuff. But,
and probably a couple other matches after that, just from how SmackDown is whenever you go in person, which does really quickly, because that does do it for us. He just talked about it. That's how SmackDown went off the air, so that does do it for us here on the SmackDown review. But really quickly, just breaking the news, John is going with me to the Royal Rumble in 2023 in San Antonio, Texas. So the SmackDown review will be represented there, not just the WWE podcast, but the SmackDown review in its entirety. And it's going to be pretty fun. We will definitely have some videos sent to the Discord, some pictures from our seats and all that stuff. It's always entertaining whenever we have some WWE podcast family members at these live events, especially at Royal Rumble. The first Royal Rumble booked by Triple H. We're going to be in for some pretty big stuff, not to mention possible returns and all that good stuff. And it's just, I love the Royal Rumble. I've talked about it before. It's been 6 years now it'll be 6 years whenever that one comes around since I've been to one. And couldn't be a better time to go. And it definitely, it gets me excited. And I'm really, I'm a big fan of those, whether it's WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, obviously Survivor Series coming up. Any of those big 4 pay-per-views, sign me up for those.
Oh, yeah, and that, man, just to touch on it, man, whenever you told me about it, I was kind of just like, all right, this is really about to happen. I didn't really expect too much of it. I mean, but yeah, I do appreciate it and everything like that. Fortunately, it just came out of nowhere, I guess you could say, and you presented it to me. And I don't think I've actually, fully, devoured it, that I'm going, but whenever that time starts getting closer, I know that, it's going to start getting
It'll sink in when you're behind the wheel and I'm sitting in the passenger seat.
Oh, no, you better not be stuck.
I'm just kidding.
But yeah, man, I don't think it's actually sunk in for me yet. But yeah, I mean, this is going to be my first one, so I'm definitely excited for it. And then, like you said, it couldn't be no better time, especially me doing this podcast. So
it'll be right around a year since you've been doing it, when we go to the Royal Rumble too. So
yeah, me being in this, I mean, this is gonna be by that time it'll be my full year.
Yeah.
Like I said, I mean, I'm gonna be fully engaged in all this stuff. So I mean, more shows to come. I can't even think about the future.
Just wait till you hear the countdown in person and you're part of it. When you see the numbers pop up on the thing, it's like 10. 9. Oh, and you never know. It does suck, though, when it's somebody like Jinder Mahal. Whenever you're waiting for it and you want it to be somebody like Kevin Owens. Someone who has a good shot to win that bad boy. And that is my pick to win the men's Royal Rumble is Kevin Owens. I'm getting out early right now, November. And I am picking it. Kevin Owens is going to win the Royal Rumble match.
I don't even know who I could put in that thing, man. I'm just so freaking stoked that I'm going, So, I mean, I'm just going to embrace it all.
Alamo
embrace
Dome.
that whole thing, man. And, yeah,
Shout out to Rocky T from Houston,
yeah.
Texas. He's going as well. We may have to link up with him at the Alamo Dome and snap a pic or something for the Discord.
Show us a couple places around.
Hey, he's from Houston, man.
Hey, I'm pretty sure that's pretty close, right?
It's like 80-something miles, I believe. That's what they said, something like that. So pretty close. I will say, though, last time I went to the Royal Rumble in San Antonio, the Falcons went to the Super Bowl in Houston.
Nice.
That's all we have to talk about. We don't have to talk about anything else that happened. Just that's all that we need to talk about. But anyways, like I said, that does do it for us here on the SmackDown Review, the 108th edition of the SmackDown Review. Since we've been doing this bad boy, rolling through the weeks, it seems to fly by, which I'm not complaining at this point. Let's just keep this bad boy rolling because we're getting into a pretty damn good season. I'm not talking about the weather season or Mother Nature or anything like that. I'm talking about Royal Rumble season, Survivor Series season. Just, Thanksgiving, Christmas, that's pretty badass too. But anyways, with all that being said, I hope you guys all have a phenomenal weekend. Walk passionately in the direction of your dreams, and I will talk to you soon.
Do you wish you had some kind of cheat guide before you became an adult? Things that school or maybe your parents don't teach you? Then check out the book called Adulting 101, My First Apartment and Car. Just search Adulting 101, My First Apartment and Car on Amazon. You can find it there. And it's about the basic things that we take for granted, like the common skill of checking apartment complexes at night before you sign your lease, or doing a background check on your roommate before you move in together, or not co-signing for something. The book is designed to help those parents or guardians help their young ones transition from their home successfully. Whether that is getting a roommate, how to spot a really crappy landlord, or how not to buy an awful car, these are some of the things that they've learned throughout their own personal experiences. So check out Adulting 101, My First Apartment and Car on Amazon and give your kids the cheat codes to things that we wish we had. Check out Adulting 101, Things I Wish I Knew, My First Apartment. It's available on Amazon or at stoverconsulting.net. That's STOVER consulting.net. It has a ton more information on that website. Go check it out today.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.